But one of the things you're doing with Lean Startup is basically to take those experiences and minimize I mean, there's lots of risk in startups, right? It is intrinsic to the task. But you're minimizing the likelihood of failure, you're minimizing the kind of exposure to failure by these kind of rules that you set. And these are the rules that have become ubiquitous and probably painful to hear a little bit. But things like the iteration, iterate and iterate fast, pivot. So pivot is if your company doesn't work, then quickly change your company and do something else.
Yep.
And the minimum viable product, or MVP, which is sometimes just putting an idea out there, not an actual product, but an idea of what the product might be and seeing if anybody responds to it. That's minimizing the risk quite a bit. You don't even have a product, you're just saying you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you recognize, it all sounds very straightforward because the logic of this is to be like, look, the core problem of a startup is you don't know who your customer is. You don't know if you're on the path to a sustainable business. You have all these problems. So the unit of progress in a startup is learning, what we call in these startups validated learning, scientific, proven learning that you actually know what you're talking about. And so and that sounds pretty good. Most entrepreneurs at that point are like, yeah, who's not for learning? Everyone's for learning. But if we say, no, that is the unit of progress. Anything else you do that doesn't contribute to learning actually is a form of waste, including building too robust of a product, launching it too big in the press. I mean, launching in the press, classic sign of a startup that's about to fail. I wish I'd get the press to write about that. It would be great. Anyway, sorry. Those things are waste. They don't actually help you learn because if 100 customers don't like your product, then what does it matter what the 101st customer doesn't like your product? What's the learning value of the 1,000th customer or the 100,000th? And so a lot of the companies I've built failed so spectacularly, not because the technology wasn't good or didn't work, but because we literally couldn't get anybody even to try it to tell us how bad it was. Okay? That's the kind of failure that's colossal. And so we talk about, well, oftentimes the minimum viable product is simply an experiment that allows customers to sign up. Would you even have to create page 2 where you apologize the product's not available yet? Not if nobody signs up. And that's the most common case, actually, is that you can't even get anyone to find out that you haven't built the product yet. And I understand, not your idea, right? That's the problem. I understand. When you are in it, it seems impossible. But that's what we're trying to do. It's not, and people get really fixated on the parts of Lean Startup that fit on a bumper sticker. Okay, the bumper sticker bits are people's favorite parts. Pivot, sorry about that. MVP, I know, it's very time. Iteration. You go on YouTube, there's a very funny video where there's a Lean Startup expert is trying to convince a drug dealer they need to iterate more. Like, it's gotten out of control. I understand. The bumper sticker stuff people love. But the heart of it is trying to apply the scientific method to the process of entrepreneurship itself. So that whatever you have to do as an entrepreneur that will help you learn faster, that's what you do. And sometimes that's as simple as a landing page experiment. Sometimes it's more complicated. And tactics are not what we're trying to teach. We're trying to teach this set of principles about learning and measuring the right things.
Right.